Good morning, everyone. Kris here with Inspired Energy, and joining me again this morning, Hartwell. Good morning, Hartwell.
Good morning, Kris. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, so this morning we're kind of venturing off of the textbook, shall I say, and going into how
Yes.
human design can help improve an existing relationship. So, I think first of all, maybe talk a little bit about what each different type would do to enter correctly into a relationship. There must be a strategy that each must follow.
Yeah. Um, Human design would say that most of us are living not self lives. So that automatically extends to the idea that if we're living not self lives, then we're maybe in not self relationships. So that's the big elephant in the room, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
It's
that would
like,
make sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're in a relationship, you entered into it incorrectly, then
Hmm.
that's not ideal.
Hmm.
But I mean, we're not here to be a downer either. You know,
Exactly.
you're maybe in a relationship, right?
Hmm.
And you value it.
Hmm.
You may mean you've committed to this person, perhaps in marriage, perhaps in other ways, and you love them. So it's like they represent an extraordinary value to you.
Or you could have birthed
So if I said to you, it's like you're in the wrong relationship. Well, what are you going to do?
them. Hmm.
What are you going to say to me? You're going to say,
Yeah. Ooh.
right? Because why should we? Why should we listen to human design over our awareness of what value something has in our life?
Right.
So then the question becomes, so I mean, just to review, I mean, to enter into a relationship correctly for ourselves means to follow our strategy and inner authority. So if you're a generator, it means to respond. It means that the way you entered into that relationship was like a pull, a magnetic pull to somebody, a response to their energy. And it
Hmm.
was that for both people. For a manifester, meant you had an impulse to connect with somebody and you followed that impulse.
Hmm.
For a projector, it means you were recognized in a way that felt correct and you were invited into a relationship.
Hmm.
For a reflector, it means that over time, that person, the, the importance of that person was revealed to you. So that's how ideally we would have entered into these relationships. But you're in one, human design and its information, it finds you where it finds you, right?
Well, I think that it also has value because we can enter into a relationship that's not good for us. So, I mean, and then it can help you make those decisions that are difficult as well. Like, is this really going to benefit me over the term of my life? Is this something that's a deal breaker for me? Like when it
Hmm.
comes to your design, you know. So I
Yeah.
think it's multi-purpose, right? You may not want to hear the information, but it's also good to know, right?
Yes. And of course, so if you are in a relationship and you want to be there,
Mhm.
we want to be in the relationships that we're in.
Mhm.
Can human design help and make help? Can human design improve our relationship, one that we're
Mhm.
already in?
Right.
So that's what we want to know. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we want to know at first. And I mean, think of it this way. First, human design has a positive benefit for you. It helps you understand yourself better. It helps you embrace your own giftedness better. It helps you, it can help you release not self patterns in yourself, like people pleasing behaviors, for instance. If you're a if you're emotionally undefined, you might have significant people-pleasing and crisis-avoiding, conflict-avoiding behaviors.
Mhm.
And those would be influencing your life and influencing your primary relationship.
Mhm.
So understanding human design helps us, and say we're looking out at the other, which is of course what projectors love to do, and I'm a projector. So I'm looking at the other, I'm looking at my partners, I'm looking at my friends. And how can it help me? Well, I can understand them. I can say, well, this is what they're like, and
Mhm.
it may not be my preference. Hey, oh,
Okay. Your cat.
my cat is engaging in attention-seeking behaviors, negative attention-seeking behaviors.
Mhm.
Um, so I can use my knowledge of human design to say, hey, how do I respect this person for how they're designed to be?
Mhm.
Okay, so they're a generator. And we spoke about, some of that in our last few classes, how to get
Mhm.
along with and honor the different
Types.
designs, the different
Mhm.
types. But beyond that, now I'm going to look at, okay, what electromagnetic channels do we have in common? What has
Mhm.
drawn us together?
So, what's that spark that made us come together? What is that initial draw that we get from them? Their energy versus our energy is what you're saying.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what is the spark that drew us together? That can be the electromagnetic connections. It could be um, one or the other, or both people have a bridging gate, and that other person has the bridging gate.
Mhm.
You can also see things where, okay, this person has the entire channel here, and I only have half of it. So
Mhm.
they're going to, in a sense, dominate the energy in that area. And so, okay, that doesn't feel particularly great, but being aware of it helps me understand it.
Mhm.
Because there are all sorts of things that arise in relationships, right? Where we, okay, this is something I can accommodate. This is something that I can accept
Mhm.
as, or compromise with. And then there are, of course, areas where we're not going to be able to compromise.
Right. Well,
So, yeah.
because there are some energies that just don't mesh, that just don't go together. They're like they're like opposite, or yeah. But in all of this, we're acting as mirrors for each other, anyways, right? So, what is it
Yeah.
that I need to heal within myself, or to become the acidic being that I'm meant to be, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I would think about it from two prongs.
Hmm.
There are probably genuine aspects of compatibility that drew you to each other.
Hmm.
Um, and you can lean into those and be grateful for them.
Hmm.
um, but a strong sort of question to yourself would have to be asked: how not self have I been living?
Hmm.
And if you've really been living a life that is contrary to your own design, then you may find yourself in a relationship that is very contrary to what you would truly need.
Right.
Um, but I mean, the self-awareness would come first.
Hmm. Yeah.
The other thing I think human design really helps us with is it shows that we're not going to change.
Hmm.
Our design is our design,
Hmm.
right? So I think it helps us see, okay, what would it really mean to be unconditionally loving
Hmm.
towards another human? It
Hmm.
means it means celebrating their uniqueness
Mm-hmm.
and celebrating your own uniqueness and not blaming either yourself or the other person for not being what is ideal.
Well, I think too, one of the things that, especially that I'm learning through human design, is when you start understanding the other person, then you understand more how to communicate with that other person, not necessarily just your style of communication. You look for those opportunities where you can connect, right? And everybody has a language, right? So, I think that human design helps that or assists in that. And also identifying when that person is out of alignment or when you're out of alignment, you know? So I
Hmm.
think that those are really valuable.
Yeah, I like how you put that. It
Yeah.
is a tool that really helps us discern more clearly
Hmm.
what is really going on.
Yeah.
Um,
It gives
I
us a
think the
language,
big it gives
right?
us a language to speak to all these things that can be different.
Hmm.
Like I became roommates at one point with somebody who was also a projector, and
Hmm.
he was going through a rough patch, and I helped him in that rough patch, and we were roommates. And
Hmm.
he was a projector as I am, um, but he was a splenic projector.
Hmm.
And splenic projectors are very quick decision makers, and I'm a emotional projector.
Hmm.
So I am not quick to make decisions. So, that seeking to get along with each other was a really interesting experiment
Hmm.
because how do you do that if one person is very spontaneous and the other person isn't?
Yeah, I've
Um,
experienced that too. So, and then you just, yeah, if you don't understand their design, then you're just kind of like frustrated, right?
right.
Hmm.
And the frustration is going both ways.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so this really gives us that, as I say, that opportunity
Hmm.
to. I think I heard this recently. I'm not sure what the source was, but they said loving is easy if you remember that all you need to do is become a mutual admiration society.
Hmm.
Um, both people admiring the other for their true uniqueness and their gifts and who they are as a being.
Yeah.
And I think human design sort of is very aligned with that idea.
Hmm. I think it helps you to utilize and value the person when you understand their design, right? So when you have a knowing, so if I know that, for example, a projector is meant to be of service to a generator, and you're a projector and I'm a generator, then I'm going to be requesting or inviting you into opportunities and projects, or, when it comes to work, kind of thing. So
Hmm.
that's, and knowing that instead of going, oh well, if you want to do it, you'll just take the lead and do it. That's not how it works, right? Like, you need to be invited in and feel a value, to the project or to whatever is going on in the environment, right?
Yes, and so there are things that's exactly right. That's what projectors are desiring. Just like a projector might give a generator something to respond to,
Hmm.
because that's how a generator tunes into what is right for them.
Right.
Um, so we can do these things to see if that helps us live into the positive feelings that come with living in alignment.
Yeah, I think
So,
about manifestors too. So being in a relationship with a manifestor, and I've been in relationship with a manifester, and
Mm.
also one of my kids is, but coming to the realization about them needing their space and to do their own thing, and when you encroach on that, that they get angry. So it's not necessarily that they're just an angry person, that you upset all the time. it's that it's that
Yeah.
you crossed a boundary for them, or you're not allowing them to be the fullness of who they are, right? So I mean, that's a big epiphany moment, when you're in a relationship and you
Yes.
understand that.
So rather than, that's what I was exactly, you're on the page that I was pointing to. It's
Hmm.
like if we're very unhappy in a relationship, we're going to be feeling anger as a manifester, or frustration as a generator, or bitterness as a projector, or disappointment.
Hmm.
So how can we honor each other so that we get to feel satisfied and peaceful and successful and delighted? If the tone of our relationships is those words, then we know that we're doing something right.
Yeah.
So we get feedback.
Mhm. I think
We
it's the part about, the constructive feedback, and that the communication skills are so important, and learning how to communicate with each type as well. I mean, that's got to lend some weight to the success of the interaction.
Yeah, understanding, in a sense, say their throat dynamics. What voice do
Mhm.
they speak with? Are they defined in the throat or aren't they?
Mhm.
I mean, that one because you're
Yeah, yeah, I
undefined in
do.
the throat, and there are implications for communication with that.
Well, yeah, especially when you borrow somebody's voice and it's not nice and they don't like it, but you're just borrowing their voice, when you're speaking to them. But yeah, and then you kind of feel like a chameleon sometimes, right? And then it's hard to know, well, what's me, what's not me when I'm communicating, right? But if you understand whose voice you're borrowing, then it makes a big difference.
Yes, yes. And I mean, of course, timing is something too.
Hmm.
Projectors have lots of advice to give, but if they're not asked for it, then it's not wanted.
Hmm.
So, a projector who offers thoughts, advice, perspectives, blah, blah, blah,
Hmm.
to somebody who is not actually inviting that from them
Hmm.
is,
It doesn't go over well.
it's going to
Yeah.
create bitterness.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
going to create bitterness.
Yeah. And I
Uh,
think not only the design, but getting down into the nitty gritty of the gates and the channels and stuff, like it's not just the overall design, it's actually getting into those parts that can trigger things within each other. So I know for myself, I have control. So it's like, okay, what does that mean? Does, you know, but you can make people feel really uncomfortable, right? If you're not using that properly.
yeah,
Hmm.
indeed.
Hmm.
The punchline being that once you become aware of all these different factors,
Hmm.
you could get very overwhelmed, Kris, if you were
Hmm.
trying to, in a sense, I need to be aware of this and this and this and this and this and this and this. It would overwhelm your brain
Hmm.
and, of course, reveal that you were trying to make the decisions with your mind.
Yeah.
And human design says, no, 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 that's not going to work.
Hmm.
Your body, our organisms are what make the decisions.
Hmm.
So when we are in alignment with our organism and we're letting it make the decisions, then we live the life that we're meant to live.
Yeah.
So it becomes a little confused. I mean, oh, how do I want to put this? Um, Human design doesn't offer us any guarantees that if we live in alignment, we're going to find the love of our lives or
Hmm.
we're going to have a particular experience. it doesn't offer that as a dream.
Mm-hmm.
What it says is that if you live in alignment with yourself, you're going to live the life that was meant for you.
Mm-hmm.
But remember that a lot of our ideas about the life that we would prefer to have is not self-programming, it's conditioning.
Yeah, it's based on, oh, so and so has a great relationship. I want that. I want, yeah, exactly. So we're a little over today. So is there anything you want to say to wrap it up?
I would say you have no choice. Love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So the where this all begins and ends is human design a tool that helps you love yourself, embrace yourself, and live in a way that feels better? You know, I want that for you. I want that
Mm-hmm.
for myself.
Yeah.
So love yourself. Don't beat yourself up for being something other than what you thought you should be.
Mm-hmm.
Move towards an admiration of your own self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And love those parts of yourself. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff going on here at Clair-i-tea. You're doing something in April on the 10th.
Yes, I'm doing a child and parent kind of tea circle. So that'll be
Mm-hmm.
fun. That's an invitation for parents to show up and if with their kids or not, but to talk about parenting and their relationship to their kids and
Yeah.
what
Using
the
human
impact.
design.
Yeah, using human design.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, with that, we'll say goodbye. God bless, and join us again next Wednesday. Take care.